The night I realized my marriage was over did not start with shouting or tears. It started with a laugh I did not recognize. I was taking the trash out when I heard Daniel's voice coming from the driveway. He was sitting in the car with the engine off, phone pressed to his ear. He laughed softly, warmly, the way he used to laugh with me when we were still in love. Then he said a name. Not mine. I stopped walking. I stood there with the trash bag cutting into my fingers, listening. Yeah, he said quietly. I miss you too. My stomach dropped so fast it felt like I might be sick right there on the pavement. I waited until he hung up and came inside. When I asked who he was talking to, he barely looked at me. Work, he said. That was it. No explanation. No hesitation. That night, he slept beside me like nothing had happened. I stared at the ceiling, replaying his voice over and over. I knew, deep down, that this was not a mistake or a misunderstanding. It was something hidden, something practiced. I did not cry. I did not confront him again. I stayed quiet. And without knowing it yet, that silence was the first step toward everything that came next. I did not go searching for proof right away. I went searching for truth. The next morning, while Daniel was at work, I sat at the kitchen table with my phone and typed a name into social media. The name I had heard the night before. Claire. She appeared instantly. Smiling photos. School events. A wedding picture with a man standing beside her, arm around her waist. Her husband. His name was Andrew. I stared at his face for a long time before typing a message. My hands shook so badly I had to delete and retype it 3 times. I think our spouses are having an affair, I wrote. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. If I'm not, I think we should talk. I hovered over the send button. Then I closed my eyes and pressed it. 7 minutes later, my phone buzzed. You're not wrong, he replied. When can you meet? My heart pounded. I felt dizzy, like the ground under my life had shifted. Still, I felt something else too. Relief. I was not imagining things. Someone else was living the same nightmare. And somehow, knowing that made me feel less alone. Andrew and I met at a small cafe near the train station the next morning. I arrived early and sat with my hands folded in my lap, trying to steady my breathing. When he walked in, I recognized him immediately from the photos. He looked tired. Older than his pictures. He smiled politely, but his eyes were heavy. He sat down and did not waste time. He slid his phone across the table. On the screen was a photo of Daniel and Claire together. His arm was around her. They were smiling. I stared at it until my vision blurred. She's my wife, Andrew said quietly. I found out 2 weeks ago. I swallowed hard. I heard Daniel on the phone last night. Andrew nodded slowly. Then it's been going on longer than they admitted. We talked for over an hour. We compared dates, excuses, and lies. Every story matched. Late meetings. School events. Work dinners. All the same. This was not random. It was planned. When we finally stood to leave, Andrew looked at me and asked, "What do you want to do?" I did not answer right away. Because in that moment, I realized something important. Daniel thought I was weak. And he was wrong. When I went home that afternoon, Daniel acted like nothing was wrong. He kissed my cheek, asked about my day, and complained about traffic. His phone stayed face down on the counter the entire time. I watched him closely. I noticed how relaxed he seemed. How confident. That night, after he fell asleep, I opened our laptop. I did not break into anything. I simply looked at what he had never bothered to hide. Bank statements. Calendar entries. Receipts. I was not searching for proof anymore. I already had that. I was searching for patterns. Within minutes, I noticed small charges that did not fit our life. Hotel bars. Restaurants in parts of town we never visited. Taxi rides on nights he said he worked late. None of it was dramatic. That was the point. He thought small meant invisible. I opened a new document and titled it Timeline. I started writing everything down. Dates. Times. Excuses. Upstairs, Daniel slept peacefully. I realized then that he was not afraid of losing me. He was afraid of being caught. And that gave me power. The next morning, I asked him calmly, "Who's Claire?" Daniel froze for half a second. Then he laughed. "Who?" he said. "Claire," I repeated. "A teacher. Married." His smile faded. He sighed loudly, like I was exhausting him. "Why are you doing this?" he asked. "You've been stressed lately. You're reading into things." There it was. The gaslighting. I nodded slowly, like I accepted his answer. Then I walked into the bathroom, locked the door, and wrote down every word he said. That night, I noticed something else. Our savings account looked lower than it should have been. When I asked him about it, he waved it off. "It's just a holding account. Makes things easier." Holding account. I checked again after he fell asleep. The account had another name attached to it. Not mine. That was the moment I understood. He was not just cheating. He was planning to leave. And he was planning to take more than his share with him. Andrew and I met again 2 days later. This time, we brought notes. We compared calendars side by side. Every gap lined up. Every lie matched. "This wasn't emotional," Andrew said quietly. "This was deliberate." I nodded. They coordinated. Andrew looked down at his hands. "Do you think anyone would believe us?" I did not answer right away. Claire's reputation was spotless. A beloved teacher. A volunteer. A role model. Daniel hid behind her image. That night, when I got home, I noticed his jacket on the couch. It slipped and something fell out. A second phone. Cheap. Unremarkable. I picked it up and felt my chest tighten. I did not unlock it. I did not confront him. I took photos. Then I put it back exactly where I found it. Because now, I was not reacting. I was preparing. The lawyer's office smelled like paper and coffee. I sat across from Ms. Patel and slid my folder across the desk. She looked through it carefully. Screenshots. Statements. Notes. "You've been thorough," she said. "I don't want drama," I told her. "I want protection." She nodded. "Then you need to stay silent. Let him think you're confused." She explained everything clearly. Finances mattered more than feelings. Timing mattered more than confrontation. Before I left, she said something I would never forget. The person who prepares quietly usually wins. I walked out feeling lighter. That night, Daniel came home late again. I smiled politely and asked if he wanted dinner. He relaxed. He thought I was still unsure. He had no idea I had already chosen my path. Andrew called me one night, his voice shaking. "I saw them," he said. "Together. Outside a hotel." My hands went cold. "I didn't confront them," he added. "My son was with me." I closed my eyes. "You did the right thing." There was a pause. "What are we doing, Rachel?" "We wait," I said. "And we keep records." Daniel became careless after that. He stayed out later. He stopped hiding his phone as much. One night, he told me his bonus might be delayed. Something about restructuring. I checked the accounts again. More money had moved. This time, there was a standing transfer. He was draining us slowly. And I was watching every move. Daniel decided to confess on a Sunday morning. He stood in the kitchen, sunlight pouring in, and said, "I need to be honest." He told me it just happened. That he was confused. That he never meant to hurt me. He did not say Claire's name. I asked softly, "Is it over?" He hesitated. "I don't know," he said. I nodded and said nothing. He hugged me like he had done something brave. I stood there thinking how wrong he was. After the confession, Daniel grew confident. He thought honesty meant control. I became quiet. Calm. Polite. He mistook it for weakness. Andrew, meanwhile, was reaching his breaking point. Claire had brought Daniel into their home while Andrew's child was there. Andrew filed the next day. I followed a week later. Daniel came home to an envelope on the table. "What is this?" he asked. "Consequences," I said. For the first time, he looked scared. Claire panicked. Her school started whispering. Parents asked questions. The affair lost its shine. Daniel grew angry, then desperate. He asked if we could handle things privately. I refused. Money trails surfaced. A rental near Claire's school, paid for with joint funds. That ended everything. The settlement took months. I stayed calm. I showed up. I did not argue. Daniel unraveled. You're not going to take everything, are you? He asked once. I'm taking what's mine, I said. Andrew and I talked often. Slowly. Carefully. No lies. No secrets. It felt safe. The divorce finalized. I sat in my car afterward and cried for the first time. Not from sadness. From relief. Daniel and Claire did not last. People who cheat do not trust. 2 years later, Andrew and I married quietly. No drama. Just peace. Daniel heard through friends. He never contacted me again. I learned that revenge does not need noise. It needs patience. I rebuilt my life slowly. On my terms. Andrew asked once if I felt guilty being happy. I didn't. They lost everything chasing excitement. I gained peace by choosing myself. The truth always surfaces. Silence became my strength. The perfect revenge was not destruction. It was freedom.